Damn. Damn.
Found one.
You found them? How much is it?
$35.
$35 for a flag mount.
For a flag or a blanket?
A custom flag.
I want a custom blanket. Like that.
He wants to sleep with the TRP, baby.
You want to sleep with it or you want to keep it on the wall?
No.
Okay, that's a flag, a wall flag. You're like a tapestry?
Yeah, that's what that is. It's not really a blanket.
Buy Shoto.
That's a throw blanket.
Where do you even get that flag? I mean, that blanket from?
I got it for donating so that kids with disabilities can learn how to surf. and
Surf?
skate.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Get off me.
They gave me a free bag. And plus I spent $100 at the store, that's why. You have to spend $100 to donate and then you get it.
I'm cramping, man. The dog don't understand. My arms are cramping. Hey, Google. Open clock.
Got it. But first you'll have to
But first my ass.
opening
start recording?
clock.
Yeah, there's some B-roll action.
Some B-roll action.
Yeah, there's some behind the scenes
I
action.
was gonna say, I forgot my tea.
Go get your tea, man.
Tea. I need my tea.
Get off me,
My
dog.
hot tea.
Shoto, you don't understand. We trying to make some podcast action over here.
And trying to waste that battery on that camera.
Oh, that's right. The battery don't last that long. Hey, we gotta get moving. We gotta get schmoving.
Moving.
Yeah, let me put my 30-minute. Oh, my forearms are cramping. I can't even use my phone. Let me put on my 30-minute timer. I think we should have a behind the scenes for every podcast episode.
Absolutely. Oh, if you guys like tea, I drink Earl Grey hot tea. It's delicious.
He's fancy.
It's so good.
Bougie man, bougie man. So now you want to behave yourself and get in the shot. Let's start the episode.
Welcome back to the Royal Podcast. How are you guys doing?
What's up, everybody?
How are you doing?
Oh, here he goes
Shut
again. Oh, he's now. All right, guys, we're back with another episode. This is episode 11, I believe. And just like usual, we usually come with a topic that's heavy on our hearts.
Mm-hmm.
And today's episode was inspired by Brett. So we're gonna start this off with a question before we tell the title of our episode.
So imagine you're on your deathbed and you have all of your dreams and big plans. Pretend they're like little characters and they're staring at you, wondering why you didn't reach for them. Imagine that. Imagine how that would feel.
And the big part of that is why. A lot of people realize that too late when they're on their deathbed. And everyone thinks of the same answer. There's one word. Mediocre. Mediocre. Hey Google, what does the word mediocre mean?
Here's the definition of mediocre. Of only moderate quality, not very good.
Not very good, she said.
Very good.
That was just mediocre. What is mediocrity? The state of being mediocre. The state of being mediocre. So today's episode is titled Fighting Mediocrity. Getting rid of what is mediocre. So, in order to really identify if you're being mediocre or not, is to ask yourself, can I be better?
Yeah, are you pushing your limits?
And and sometimes for some people, I'm gonna make this real clear. I've told Brett this. It's always been this way. Man, this dog does not know how to put some respect on the podcast. All right. I always tell people there's a clear distinction between average and mediocre.
Yeah. Yeah, you talk about that quite a bit.
And people just use the word mediocre as if it means the same thing as average. Now, it may have a secondary or third definition that relates to average, but I personally separate the two. Mediocre is just like you heard. Very clear, she said, not good. Not good enough. So, to be mediocre, I will give you a clear example here. The average individual brushes their teeth twice a day. Just brush. The mediocre person only does the bare minimum of brushing their teeth once a day, and that's in the morning, right before they talk to people. Now, what does the above average person do? They brush their teeth twice a day, they floss before they go to bed, and they use some form of wash mouth, or mouthwash. I keep saying, I grew up saying wash mouth.
Same thing.
Yeah, same thing. And then the pinnacle of it all is that guy, the guy at the top, that guy does all those things, right? Twice, 3 times a day, floss and mouthwash, and he goes to the dentist.
Yeah.
The guy goes to the dentist for his cleaning every 6 months. See, that's a real dumb example. But you see how low mediocre is? And let's say that mediocre guy only brushes his teeth, he didn't even brush his tongue. The mediocre guy just decides to leave his tongue all kinds of white, all kinds of bacteria and nasty mouth action. Got some dog breath, okay? That's the mediocre guy. Now, compare that example to your life. Where are you not brushing enough? You're not brushing the most important parts, like your tongue, where 90% of the germs in your mouth are at, where all your bad breath comes from. You're only doing the bare minimum of trying to appear nice, trying to appear clean. Mm-hmm. And your teeth still yellow if you only brush them once a day, and especially in the morning. You let all that plaque sit there overnight, marinated. So one thing I want you to truly ask yourself is, am I trying? Am I trying? Not are you doing, because doing, huge spectrum, right? Yeah, I do brush my teeth. Yeah, but how many times? How well? Is it for at least 3 minutes? Or is it just for 30 seconds? No bueno. You can't just settle for mediocrity. So how can we fight mediocrity? What are a few things you would say? Give a story or something.
Well, I guess I'll use like a personal thing here. When I used to work at a movie theater, with all the goofballs and everything, we would all goof off together. But when I'm by myself, I'm working twice as hard and doing what I need to do. People that are mediocre will do the exact opposite. When they're by themselves, they won't do it. They will slack off even more than they were in that group setting. So the way to fight it is to really just be brutally honest with yourself. Look at yourself. Write down, like, this is what I'm going to start doing. I'm going to write down my not only goals, but my fears and what I want most on a piece of paper, so I can look at that and say, okay, am I doing enough today to achieve that? I remember I walked in the door. Sarah said, "Are you ever going to be happy?" I said, "No." I don't think she really understood what I meant by no. I meant no by saying I want more than what I have now. Not because I need to have it. I'm not talking about material. I'm not talking about, I want a new car. None of that. I'm talking about I want to achieve a greater version of myself. I want to get rid of this average and mediocre person, throw them away, dig them a new grave.
Yeah.
So I can be where I need to be.
It's almost unbelievable to think that being mediocre is easy. It's not. Being mediocre is probably one of the heaviest loads you can sustain in life. And here's why. It's the most costly because it costs all of your time. The people that realize that they were mediocre lost all of it, and they're about to die. Most expensive form of you is the mediocre you. And the problem with that is that it's a bad deal. Not the most valuable, but the most expensive. See, there's a difference between those two, right? A scam artist will charge you for something that's not valuable, but a true seller, a true manufacturer, a true businessman will sell you something that is valuable, that is worthwhile for your life and your life. See, you're scamming yourself being a mediocre person. You're a scam artist. You're scamming the person you should have been. You're scamming your parents. You're scamming your friends. You're scamming your coworkers, your colleagues, teachers, bosses. You're scamming all of them. You're scamming them for what you could be.
Yeah, the most important person you're scamming is you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're scamming yourself, most importantly.
Most importantly, yes. Why would you do something like that to yourself? It's a double-edged sword. You're sacrificing almost, you don't even know what life looks like.
See, I find it weird how people can live that life of not really living. And I say that meaning they're just going to work and they hate their jobs, they hate their life, they hate their husband, wife, spouse, whatever. But they do absolutely nothing to change it. I used to work at a sandwich shop. I would tell people my big plan in life, what I wanted to do. And this is a sandwich shop. This is very the most unimportant thing in the world. People just want their lunch. They don't care about that.
Yeah.
But I kept saying it because the more and more I say it, the more and more it's going to become real, and the more and more I can visualize it happening.
Exactly.
But I would ask a question to, a coworker saying, hey, what are your big plans? They're like, what do you mean? What are your plans in life? Like, what do you want most out of life? That's my favorite question to ask a stranger or an individual. What is the one thing that you desire most in life? And most people have no idea.
It's the truth.
The girl said, I don't know, I'm just paying my bills. I'm just here to pay my bills.
Here to pay your bills.
And that would be a level of mediocrity and the lie that they've told themselves day in and day out.
Now, see, I would agree with that. Briefly, off camera, Brett's wonderful wife, Star, mentioned that some people are comfortable with what at that moment was perceived to be mediocre. But that's when I made the clear distinction between mediocrity and average. The average individual is okay with the white picket fence, the dog, the house. They're okay with those simple things, making $40,000 a year. They're okay with that. And I guess in a sense for average, that's okay. But it's because it's not as toxic as mediocrity. Mediocrity ends up hurting people. Being mediocre is the most selfish thing. Is the most selfish level of accomplishment ever. And that's actually ironic to say because you're hardly accomplishing. You're just getting by.
Yeah.
And when you come across an individual that just kind of has no idea what they're doing in life, depending on what stage of life they're in, it gets real more and more toxic. Now, I don't expect, let's say you're a high school graduate that's 17 years old and you're just trying to figure out what you're going to do in life. I understand that. It's not hard. That's average. But 5 years from then, it starts to become mediocre. It becomes not very good. Because you had 5 years. What you been doing? You've been doing mediocre things. You've been goofing off. You haven't been taking your life seriously. People don't live thinking that they're going to die. People don't live thinking they could die tomorrow or in this moment. Chadwick Boseman, a great actor, just died.
The Black Panther?
Yes.
Oh, man.
Nobody knew he had colon cancer, and he just died at 43 years old. If you're 20 years old and you're going to die at 43, you know how much time you have?
Not very much.
Not very much.
It may seem like a lot, number-wise, but no.
It's not very much. 23 years, that's it. So, the mediocre individual stays home, goes to work, comes back from work, doesn't take care of themselves, does the bare minimum, doesn't travel the world, doesn't invest, doesn't save any money. They don't make an effort to be them. They want to come home and sleep.
Well, that's the lie that they have been feeding themselves day in and day out. That's what I'm trying to say is that they don't take that step because they've become comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
They've put themselves in a situation that is easy. Me, I've always wanted, this is how you get out of that easy. You quit it. you know, and you jump into something extremely hard that you have no knowledge in, that you have no reassurance about, you just do it. Like me quitting my job right when I was graduating, I thought, oh, I have a job lined up, I'm good to go. So I was like, all right, I'm done with this place, quit my job, and I would say that was the most uncomfortable thing for me, you know, going into that aspect of not having a job for 3 months, you know, and having to find these side jobs, side gigs to get by. And I put my dream off to the side because now I'm focusing on, oh, I need to pay my bills. And I guess that's what happens with people is they get in those situations to where they are not in control, but they don't challenge it to get out of it, if that makes sense. You know, if I didn't quit that job, I'd probably still be in there today. I'd probably still be in there today because they offered me a GM position, which, okay, that's good, you know, 40, 50K a year. I don't know what the salary was, but I looked at it and I visualized myself and I was like, what kind of man would I be if I'm sitting here, you know, working this job that I hate and could care less about when I could be going off on this adventure and giving my wife the life she deserves. You know?
Right.
Because that man that offered me that job, his wife was unhappy, he was unhappy, you could tell he was unhappy, he would complain about his life, and I was like, I do not want to be that person, you know? I don't want to end up in that situation.
Right.
So I threw myself out of that situation, and 3 months go by, no job, you know, nothing popped up, nothing valuable popped up. I went to these interviews, and they were just average jobs. They weren't something extraordinary, you know. It wasn't something that I could be comfortable and then pursue my dream, you know. It was something of the lines of what I was already doing out of high school, in college, you know.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. People don't take that jump. They don't take that leap. You have to get uncomfortable, extremely uncomfortable, to overcome and fight that mediocre person within you.
Be uncomfortable with being comfortable and be comfortable with being uncomfortable. That's the simple solution. It was one of the solutions to stop being mediocre. Now, there's this progression of this law of progression that we all follow. Everything begins with a thought, an idea. Then it gets expressed into word, spoken, shared, thought about, collaborated with. Then some action gets taken place from these two. Habits, routines, something comes out from after that, and then you build a legacy, you build character, etc. That's how we were formed, personality-wise. Now, the reverse is also true. So it comes out that way. Now, what's coming in that way? So let's start with character. All right, the character, like he mentioned, he was working at a movie theater and he was goofing off with these guys that were working there. But when they weren't there, he was working. So let's do the reverse. Character is the end goal, right? Mm-hmm. Character is the last thing. From thought to character, let's look backwards. This is the goofy guy. I'm Brett, I'm the goofy guy. This is Brett. I have a goofy character, not very high standards, not great morals. We're working backwards now. So from character, moving to action. All right, my goofy character starts to influence his actions. All right, now from his actions, my goofy character starts to influence how he speaks, and then to how he thinks. Changes the whole process. So, in order to prevent, one of the ways to easily do that, to prevent the continuation of mediocrity in a very easy way, other than fighting with yourself, It's just to get rid of the mediocre people. Now, when I say get rid of, I mean to start managing at least your time with them.
Yeah.
Don't be so, free willing to compart a lot of time with them when you can be using that time to work on yourself. The pain of your reality should be a huge motivator for you. Like, especially when you got people in your age group that are doing well and you really have no excuse to. A lot of mediocre people aren't people that don't have little in life, that they have enough. And they've been given enough since the beginning, or they've been given a comfortable lifestyle. A lot of people start that way. And I can say that because I found that case to be true for myself as well. My parents worked very hard. They've accomplished a lot. And, especially when I was, young teenager, I was comfortable, man. I was mediocre, bro. All I was worried about was YouTube. I didn't do no homework. I went to the gym, and I asked for food all the time. I didn't clean around the house. I didn't help. And to some degree, I still do that. I'm not gonna lie, because I don't really like cleaning. But to that degree, though, it's the illness. Part of that sickness was not even realizing that. You feed that bad wolf. You feel that toxic entity, that toxic thing. It's gonna grow and grow and grow, and it's gonna get even harder to get rid of. It's like feeding a street cat. As soon as you feed that street cat, boy, that street cat's gonna be at the same time, at the same spot every day for his food.
Wait for you.
And guess what's gonna start happening? That street cat's gonna get so comfortable with being there and accepting that food, it's gonna start pooping on your porch, peeing on the wall. Other cats gonna start coming because they realize that there's all kinds of food out here on the porch, and they gonna start pooping. They gonna start mating, having kittens all over the place. Man, they're making your front porch their hometown. You don't want them kind of cats. Go to the shop and get you a nice clean cat. Bring it in the house and take care of it. If you want a cat, don't be feeding them street cats. So the street cat is mediocrity. You fight it by having some form of discipline, some forethought, and realizing that it's not just me, it's others. He said he wants to be able to build a life worthwhile and enjoyable for his wife. He was selfless in that. That's the basis of being above mediocrity, being a man. To be honest with you, just being a man. You think of yourself.
See, that's kind of one of the reasons why I went to that academy and tried it out, because I was like, okay, I'm fit. I can sacrifice myself for others.
Mm-hmm. You want to help people,
right? But maybe that is obviously not the path I'm supposed to be on. So
you're meant for more, man. You're meant for greater.
I know. And I keep getting drawn back to the same vision, the same dream. And I have this dream, like I was sleeping on, I constantly have this dream that I'm giving a speech out to these certain people. Can't really see their faces, but it is, along the lines of thanking everybody that helped me out and giving back to them. Another way to fight mediocrity would be to not only build your relationships around with people, but your network, all that. But you can't do everything alone. You have to realize that you can't be a lone wolf 24/7. It does not work. I have tried it. It does not work.
Yeah.
You can be some super badass in your head, but on paper, you are not.
Yeah, you gotta have some form of collaboration.
Yeah.
Some teamwork.
You have to put together, even if it's one person, or if it's two people, whatever, but those have to be the same, your circle has to surround that.
Yeah.
You have to be all wanting to be great.
And a lot of it, like Brett's passion is to be an actor now. You can get really, really extreme and technical about the teamwork aspect of being an actor, because he's not the one recording, he's not the one editing, he's not the one staging, he's not the one doing all that stuff. But in his case, for his career, his team right now, it consists of me, some other good friends, Star, his family, her family, a support network. team of lovers. And that's what, they're the people that help manage the stress. They're the people that help manage the day-to-day activities. They're the ones that bring joy in his life. So those things hedge with the stress of the work, the stress of the pursuit, the impact that comes with trying to achieve the goal. You'll find a lot of mediocre people are just okay with settling. They're okay with, oh man, well, I don't know how that happened. Well, shoot, let's see how this goes.
It's too hard, or
Yeah, like, let's see how this goes. What do you mean, let's see how this goes?
yeah.
Let's see how you're going to work to fix the problem. Let me see it, You got to take action, initiative. Initiative is just a big part. Initiative implies action, but not a certain degree of... It's responsible action. Initiative. Responsible action. And it's usually intelligent. It's not just acting. So let's take initiative. You just came from the dentist because you haven't been to the dentist for the last 5 years. You've been brushing your teeth once a day, and the dentist is like, oh man, you got all kinds of messed up teeth. It don't look like it, but you got this cavity here, and you need this filling, and this filling, this filling. You may even need to get a new crown. And you're coming back home like, oh, I ain't got no kind of insurance. I ain't got kind of no money.
Oh yeah.
My mouth is all kinds of messed up. My tongue is white and stinky. What am I going to do? Taking initiative is immediately saying there's a problem, realizing there's a problem, and taking some responsible action to figure that out. So the very first thing you can do if you can't afford insurance is to go to the grocery store, buy some floss picks, mouthwash, and commit to brushing your teeth twice a day, flossing before you go to bed, and doing your mouthwash. Ideally twice a day as well, to start hedging the problem. And then once you start getting your finances intact, you go and get your insurance and start seeing your dentist twice a year to get your checkups and everything, and then fixing your mouth problems. That is taking initiative. Initiative is the natural enemy of mediocrity. Laziness is its best friend. Lack of concern and selfishness is its best friend. That is what mediocrity likes. And I highly encourage you to take this message seriously, because there are certain fields in life, especially really important ones, that you're neglecting. You may have a lot of money. You may have a great girlfriend. You may have most of the most ideal things, but you're neglecting your health.
Yeah.
Or you have health and you're neglecting your mental health or your emotional health. These important things that create the framework of your life, that structure the framework of your life, that needs to be addressed, you're treating it mediocrely. And I guess the best way I can put it is, being mediocre, especially in the health environment, is you wait till a problem comes. You wait till you can't breathe no more walking up the stairs. You wait till the doctor tells you got problems. Like, there's a lack of initiative in taking care of yourself. And like I said, being mediocre is not very good. So if you're not very good physically, you're not very good mentally or spiritually, hygiene wise, relationship wise, financially, there's so many aspects. Take all those things: health, mental, emotional, financial, relationships. Those 5 things. Get on a boat, throw yourself in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, blow 5 big old holes in that, and then try to do what he was doing, with hopping from job to job to job to job, and not actually pursuing his goal and being serious about his life. It's like, okay, you got a head, 2 hands, and 2 feet. You're trying to cover up all 5 holes with these parts of your body. And then one gets loose, you got to scooch over and no, it's how about you do this? Barely survive up until you get into shore and get you a new boat, rather than try to survive on this broken, boofy boat that has all these holes in it. That's the lifestyle of a mediocre person. Somebody that has this half broken boat in the middle of the ocean, and they're just trying to keep afloat with that boat, and they're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Now I understand if you're trying to get to shore to buy your new boat and you're in this broken boat, that makes sense. Boy, I'll help you.
Either sink or swim.
But if you're just standing there, sitting in the middle of the ocean, not trying to get nowhere, and just covering up your holes, trying to get somewhere.
That is the equivalent to working a job just to pay your bills.
Yes, I would agree with that. Like, what's the point? You can't be there all the time, every day, all day, covering up the holes, trying to prevent the boat from sinking, unless you're trying to get to somewhere. You might as well let yourself drown. And some people do that. They're dead before they die. You die before they put you in the grave, which is pitiful. You shouldn't be living your life that way. Absolutely not. And one of the greatest lies that get you into that trap is your friends.
Yeah.
All the partying and the social media and then what the news says and then, like, hey man, do some research for yourself and look at your life. Consider what it would be like if you were to just pay attention and neglect the things that you should be neglecting. Consider what your life would look like and how well it would be. Hey Shoto, we're about to end the podcast.
See, people, they over celebrate small tasks, in my opinion.
They celebrate mediocrity.
They celebrate those small little tasks, and you brushed your teeth today. Good job, buddy. But you didn't shower. You didn't.
Ugh. You didn't wash your face. You didn't comb your hair. You didn't wipe your booty right. Come on, man. The easiest things to do are also easy not to do. That's why people don't do it, because it's easy not to do. But it's easy to do. Realize that. Tell yourself that. It's easy to do, even though it's easy not to do it. So if it's easy to do, then just do it.
The way to fight mediocrity is not to look outward, but to look inward first.
Absolutely.
So.
My guys, my people, my viewers, thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something from this episode. Make sure you like and subscribe. Share this with somebody who you think is living a mediocre life.
Ask
Take
yourself
notes.
if you are truly living.
Yes, that's the true question. Are you truly living? We'll see y'all next week. Peace.